Bonjour! Today we're going to look at ways to save money in Paris as both a tourist and a local. Let's start. So let's focus on everything related to food. So first of all, for water, I would recommend for you to take a water bottle wherever you go in Paris, and also in restaurants, don't order water unless you want, of course, fizzy water. But in restaurants, ask for une carafe d'eau. Une carafe d'eau means tap water, and in France, they legally should be able to give you tap water, give you free bread, and have access to a toilet, so it won't be seen as rude or disrespectful to ask for water in a restaurant. Other ways to save for food is if you have an Airbnb that is able to cook at home. A lot of French people, we all cook great things. If you'd like to eat out, then I would suggest to do picnics, especially now with the warmer, long summer days coming and with the late sunsets. I would advise to go to a fromagerie, which is where you can get good cheese, a boulangerie, a bakery to get your baguette or your bread, and to a supermarché, a small supermarket anywhere, to grab a few aperitif, appetizer things. And then you can make your own picnic for very cheap, super yummy, by the Seine and the river, in a really nice environment. And also in the picnics that you'd like to do, if you'd like to buy a bottle of wine, just go to any bar à vin or even a supermarket. There's so much choice to grab a bottle of wine with your baguette and your cheese and eat wherever you'd like. Now for attractions and things you can do. There's a lot of places in Paris that are actually free. And if you've seen my other videos, you know that I've shot in places like Jardin des Tuileries, like Palais Royal. Those are actually gardens that are open to the public and they're super beautiful. So Palais Royal is a little more hidden, and there are many places like that in Paris, which I can make maybe a video about hidden locations to spend time and to relax in Paris. And aside from that, you have to also check for museums, because a lot of museums have cheaper prices in certain mornings. And also, for example, for the Louvre Museum, I know that the first Sunday of each month is completely free. And if you're below 26 years old, then you have so many museums for free, which is the best thing, I think, to be young in Paris. You can have access to so many culture spots and museums for free. So make sure to check the website before. And also, I would advise to do beforehand booking, because sometimes online booking is a little more cheap than if you buy there right away. Now for transportation, I would advise not to take Ubers or taxis. Taxis are just very, very pricey. So if you want to go everywhere by car, then I would advise to take these apps. I would advise to take Bolt instead of Uber. It's a cheaper version of Uber and it works very well as well. And if you can opt for more walking, that's the best. As I mentioned, like relating on the neighborhood you're in, like try to get an accommodation that's not too far walk of where you want to spend a lot of time, so that you can walk most of Paris. Especially this summer will be a little more crowded in transportation, so I think the best is to opt for more walking. But for metros, I would advise to buy tickets not one by one, but in batches of 10. There's also Navigo Pass cards, which are for 3 days unlimited. They can go everywhere. But if you're not going to take the metro that much, I would suggest to take the batch of 10 tickets, which is actually valuable for 1 hour per way. So if you use it only twice a day, you can only use 2, and it will last you 5 days. For accommodations, this would be a whole different video, because depending on what you're looking for, what you love, you can stay in certain arrondissements. Arrondissement means districts. But I would say opt for a place that still has a friendly vibe, yet that is easily accessible by walk. So I made a video on tips not to do in Paris that was in Canal Saint-Martin area. And that is a really nice area, I think, to stay. Easily accessible by metro, and also you're able to walk to a lot of places and have a lot of trendy restaurants and trendy bars. Also explore for budget-friendly accommodation. I think this summer is probably going to be the most expensive summer in Paris due to the Olympics. but you can explore like more budget friendly, like for example you can rent a room instead of rent a whole place, or you can look at more budget hotels rather than upper class hotels. And like I said, depending on which lines you take, some of them are much more convenient. There's also a video about metros, which you can see right up here, and this one you can see which metros would be the best. I would advise Metro Line 1, but there are quite a few that are in good areas. Lastly, I would say try and enjoy like walking in Paris. It's such a beautiful place with so much art and so much architecture. I don't think you need to pay so much for like these private tours, unless if it's like a budget friendly walking tour by a local. Let me know in the comments if you think I should ever do something like this, because it's been on my mind and I think it would be something very fun to do this summer. But I think generally you don't need to spend too much money on booking such private tours or such elite things like car rides and everything. I think Paris in itself is such a beautiful city, and even having a coffee on a terrace is enough, and a coffee here is very cheap. And so I would really advise for you to walk around as much as possible, to eat out in a way that is more affordable, like go picnicking or go eating by the Seine. And I would advise to take public transportation or just walk in such a beautiful, walkable city. So let me know in the comments if you're thinking of coming to Paris anytime soon, and if you have any questions, I'll make sure to answer them. And thank you for watching today's video. Merci beaucoup. Mimi, viens là. Tell them merci beaucoup, à bientôt et à demain.